Hey guys, how are you all doing? This is my top 10 best movies of 2013 video. I didn't see every single movie that came out this year. I wish I could have, so this list could be more complete. There's a lot of movies I've heard great things about that I just haven't seen. I feel like they could be easily in my top 10 list. And also, I just want to say that 2013, I don't think it was a great year for movies. A lot of people have been saying that they thought it was a great year. I definitely think we got some really great movies, a couple gems, especially 1 and 2 on my list. But overall, there were a lot of movies that I was disappointed by. A lot of movies I had really high expectations for, and some of those movies are actually in my top 10 list. But yeah, I just wanted to say that I thought, like I said, we got some good movies. I just didn't think, this was really an amazing year for movies. Now, let me read off some of the movies that I didn't get a chance to see this year, but I feel that they would have a good chance of making my top 10 list if I had seen them. So, what I didn't get a chance to see this year is 12 Years a Slave, The Wolf of Wall Street, Gravity, Star Trek Into Darkness, The Spectacular Now, Don John, Her, and Captain Phillips. I've heard great things about several of those movies and really excited to check them out. And next, the honorable mentions. Some films that I enjoyed this year, but not on my top 10 list: Fast 6, Escape Plan, World War Z, The Call, Olympus Has Fallen, The Wolverine, and 2 movies that everyone else just hates. They're in a lot of people's top 10 worst movies of the year, but 2 movies that I actually felt that I understood and I enjoyed: Movie 43 and The Purge. Won't really explain why I thought they were enjoyable. Maybe I'll do a movie review for those sometime, but I just want to say that I don't think that all the hate that those movies get is really warranted, at least in my eyes. Everyone views movies differently, and everyone has their own thoughts and opinions, but I enjoyed those movies, Movie 43 and The Purge. So on to my top 10 list, and like I said, there are some movies in here that I had really high expectations for, and they didn't quite meet them. And again, I didn't see every movie this year, but these were just the 10, what I thought were the 10 best movies, the 10 most enjoyable movies of the ones I have seen this year. So at number 10, we have an animated movie, what I thought was the best animated movie to come out this year. That's Monsters University. I saw this in theaters, haven't had a chance to watch it a second time, but I I really enjoyed it. Had a fun, good time with it. I thought it was a far more enjoyable movie than Monsters Inc., the first film. I thought they did a great job of really developing the character of Mike in here. Sully also, but I didn't really care for his character, Mike, though. I thought they made him very relatable, just an easy guy to root for, and nice animation, really warm, bright colors, and just a fun story, a story with characters you could get behind, a simple plot, just a really fun, good time. Monsters University. Like I said, number 10 on my list, and my favorite animated movie of the year. Next up at number 9, a movie I did not get a chance to see in theaters. Just watched this a few days ago, actually, and I'm glad I did because I really enjoyed it. Side Effects. Really enjoyed this movie. Very well done, very well crafted. This movie has a very eerie tone, very mysterious feel. And I loved how they did it. The cinematography was really good, and they really used that to construct that eerie tone. For example, the lighting in this movie, whether they were in like an office building or just a house, the light, whether it be from the sunlight coming in through the windows or the lights from the room. The lights were very bright, and you could see the light kind of silhouette the characters that were in the scene speaking. The light was very bright and distracting, and that really added to the eerie tone. They would use some really wacky camera angles. They would show a building, but show it from like a really weird angle, like from the bottom looking straight up the side. And one scene that really stuck out to me for the cinematography, there were people eating at a table, and the camera started off on one view, and it would circle around the table showing the different characters and come back around to show a character that you didn't know was there at the beginning of the scene. I thought that was really cool, and just things like that with the cinematography I thought really made this movie special. And the story too, I thought was interesting, enjoyable, and a very good performance, very good acting by Jude Law in this. So Side Effects number 9. And number 8, Thor: The Dark World. I'm a sucker for superhero movies, but not all of them I enjoy. I've enjoyed what Marvel's been doing, the Phase 1 and the Phase 2. Iron Man 3 I thought was terrible, and Thor: The Dark World I thought was a much better Marvel superhero film. Big improvement over the first one. I think the action scenes were well done, and I think we got a lot more action scenes in this one than the first one, and a lot more time focusing on Asgard. We got some really beautiful scenery from there, and the plot in this movie I thought was decent, not the best. Didn't really care about it a whole lot, but that was still entertaining, and overall just the good action and some of the nice shots in space, I thought made this movie really enjoyable and a good superhero film. So Thor: The Dark World, number 8. Number 7, another movie I didn't see in theaters, but really enjoyed this movie for its plot, and that's Dead Man Down. I feel this is an underrated movie. I actually went into this thinking it was an action movie from the trailer, and I have to say that I thought the action in this movie was actually bad, and that's not why I liked it at all. The plot really made this movie for me, as well as Colin Farrell's acting, who I'm not a fan of, but I thought his acting style fit this role very well. Excuse me. But the plot, I really enjoyed it. It reminded me of The Departed, just one of those very powerful, captivating plots that really pulls you in as a viewer, really makes you care about these characters, care about what's going on. I won't give anything away, but the plot I thought was really good, and also great storytelling. A lot of things presented in the beginning that didn't make sense, but everything became clear. All the pieces fit together as the movie went on. Everything unfolded beautifully, and they didn't even do it so much through dialogue, but just as the movie went on, you easily were able to understand things without them explicitly saying them, and I really enjoyed that about this. So Dead Man Down, this was number 7 on my list. Number 6, a movie that I had really high expectations for, especially seeing the trailers, and I actually thought it fell short of my expectations, but still liked it enough to be number 6, I guess, and that's Elysium. It has a really cool sci-fi element to it. The story, I think, is interesting. I like it. The plot is good. Just not terribly unique, but the way they did it with the sci-fi element and the action was pretty cool. I enjoyed the action scenes, although they really suffered from shaky cam. That was, kind of a low point of the film. And Matt Damon, I thought it was a good role for him. He plays a vulnerable a vulnerable character in this. He's still kind of, that action hero, but a vulnerable one. In the Bourne films, he's this, really, this really capable, slick killer. But in this, the action's very gritty, and he's much more vulnerable. I enjoyed that, but I really like the sci-fi element to this. I thought it borrowed too much from Neil Blomkamp's other sci-fi movie, District 9. Felt a little too copycatish at times, but overall still an enjoyable plot, a nice story with some good action scenes and a nice sci-fi element. I also thought this movie suffered a bit from its visual style. It takes place in the future on Earth, but the land is kind of wiped out. It's almost desert-like, very arid, and the color palette of this movie is pretty dry on Earth, but on Elysium it's a little better. But I just wanted to say that. But again, overall, an enjoyable movie. So that's number 6 on my list, Elysium. Number 5 is The Hobbit, The Desolation of Smaug. Now, I loved the first movie. I thought it was just great. Really loved almost everything about it. And the sequel, The Desolation of Smaug, I actually thought was a step down from the first one. A lot of reviews I've been seeing for this, a lot of people really enjoyed it. They thought it was a lot better than the first one. But yeah, I didn't think so. And I think it suffered from pacing problems, especially at the beginning and the end. But there's some very well crafted action scenes in this. Especially there was one really long action sequence that really kind of blew me away. It was very nice to watch, very enjoyable. And they really, from what I remember from the book, I think they stuck pretty closely to it. And they added Legolas in there, which I thought was a nice touch, although I didn't love his presence in the movie. And it's that Peter Jackson style of directing. Great scenes, a really great feel, great scenery, just advancing the story of the Hobbit. They really did a great job with the story of the dwarves in this, especially Thorin, as well as some of the other dwarves. They really gave them good stories, little subplots that made you actually care about some of these characters. Very different from the first one. And just overall a really enjoyable movie, great scenery, some really good action, and that nice Middle Earth feel to it that the Lord of the Rings and the first Hobbit movie are really known for. I thought it was a solid movie, just had some problems, not as good as the first one, but still number 5 on my list, The Hobbit, The Desolation of Smaug. And number 4, sequel to a movie that I really love. I thought this did a very good job living up to the first one. Thought it was just below it, but still really enjoyed it. That's Kick-Ass 2. Really enjoyed this one. Again, had high expectations for this, and this one nearly met them. It went bigger and badder than the first one. In terms of entertainment, more action scenes, better action scenes in here than the first one. The humor in this I thought was better than the first one, really good. They added some new characters in there, and it's Kick-Ass and Hit Girl. You have to love it. The only thing about this that kept it from really taking it to the next level for me, some of the subplots in here, some of the side story, with Hit Girl, I didn't really like too much, but still a very good sequel. Did a very good job of following up on the first one, and just very entertaining with the action and the humor. So Kick-Ass 2, really enjoyed this. That's number 4. Probably a lot of people's most anticipated movie of the year. I was extremely excited for this. Didn't fully meet my expectations. I was actually disappointed with it, but just because I thought it was going to be so amazing. Had its flaws, but I could still acknowledge that it was a good movie, a pretty good movie, and that's Man of Steel. What I didn't like about it was the character of Superman. They didn't give him very many lines, and it wasn't really relatable on an emotional level. They didn't give you that emotional aspect with the character, and also what many other people have complained about with this movie is that it goes from big scene to big scene, and I definitely feel the same way. They don't explain some things very well. Things that I wanted to be explained. They would definitely go from one spot and they'd jump to this next scene, and I felt like, how did we get here? There's just a lot of things you have to assume, and I didn't really appreciate that. But overall, I thought it was a good telling of Superman. Really loved the Krypton aspect of it. That was really cool. Something we haven't had the chance to see before in a Superman film. And the action, I wish there was more of it. I wish it was spread out throughout the movie a little more. A lot of people probably think I'm crazy for saying that. I thought it was a little, too many explosions over actual fighting. But the action scenes that were in there were still really good. It was great to see Superman kick ass. I enjoyed the villain. I enjoyed the plot. What Superman and the villain were fighting over. Enjoyed that. And overall, still a really solid movie. Definitely had a really epic feel to it. Man of Steel, number 3 on my list. Number 2, a movie. This is, I said at the start, 1 and 2 for me. These are definitely the best movies of the year, and I think they're just real gems, pretty close to masterpieces. And number 2 for me is Mud. Great movie. Best way I can describe this movie is to say that it has substance. Not a cash grab at all. A lot of movies today, you get the sense that they're going for a cash grab, trying to make money from it, and I can't say that about this film at all. I think you really have to have a refined taste for movies to really enjoy this movie. It's a really kind of a simple plot, but very charming, if that makes sense. It takes place in the South, and this movie definitely benefits from the setting and the scenery. You have some beautiful shots on I believe it's the Mississippi River. There are these small islands that the 2 boys in this movie, they go exploring on, and it has that great childhood adventure feel, reminiscent of movies like The Goonies and Stand By Me. Has that coming of age feel, and great acting by Matthew McConaughey. His character was very interesting, and he did a very fine job acting. You also have Reese Witherspoon in here, whose character was pretty interesting. There's a love story in here. There's there's the story from Mud, Matthew McConaughey's character. There's a story from his point of view, and then you also see the story through the children's eyes. And it was just a very it was sad and happy at the same time. Charming. That's how I can best describe this movie. Really great. Mud, number 2. And number 1, a movie I really enjoy. I've seen it a second time since seeing it in theaters, and I liked it even more the second time. That really reinforced in my mind, that this movie was the best of the year and deserves to be the number 1. I was excited for this and seeing the trailer for it. I thought it looked great. And why it's number one, it's just kind of a feel you get from watching the movie, the experience, and this movie more than any other on my list really stuck with me. The acting, just the whole feel of the movie, and that's Prisoners. Loved this movie. The plot is not, it's not terribly interesting or unique. It's about these two little girls getting kidnapped. The daughter of Hugh Jackman and daughter of Terrence Howard, but his character isn't really that important, I feel. But what I'm saying is that there are a million other movies where that's the central plot, a kidnapping. But it's everything that takes place around this plot of the kidnapping that makes the movie so great. The acting by Hugh Jackman, a very desperate father, a very troubled man just trying to get his daughter back. The acting by Jake Gyllenhaal, and how he's troubled in his own way and what he goes through trying to solve the case, and his relationship with the father. That was a dynamic in here that I really appreciated. How their two characters were very opposite yet similar in more subtle ways. And Paul Dano did a great job playing the villain in here, and the makeup that they did on him, they made him look very creepy and just really, he just looked very creepy and came off as a really kind of creepy, scary, convincing villain. There were twists and turns in here. It's a very good mystery, crime thriller. You're with both Hugh Jackman and Jake Gyllenhaal every step of the way as they try to, solve this case, and each of their characters, they take different paths, trying to solve this case, trying to find the little girls. They each know things that the other doesn't. It was all done very well, and the tone and the feel of this movie was just amazing. Very dark, gloomy, dreary, very heavy, and they did a very fine job with that, with the setting reinforcing the tone. It was snowing at the beginning of the movie. There was a rainy scene in here. There was never any sunny days in this movie. It was all overcast and foggy. Every shot I felt was handled very well. Every shot was very well crafted. Every movement. The music in here, very subtle but really added to the whole tone. The transitions between scenes, there were a few times where the scene would fade out, just go black before jumping to the next scene. Just very well directed, very well crafted movie. Really loved it. Amazing acting. Great movie. Prisoners, my number one movie of the year. So that's my top 10 best movies of 2013. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Definitely want to check out the movies that I didn't see this year. Leave your comments on what you thought of my list on any of these movies, or what you may have thought differently. If any movies shouldn't have been on here, or movies you feel should be on my list. I'm sure this list will probably change as I see some other movies that I didn't see that came out this year. But this was just my opinion, my thoughts. I try to be original with how I feel about the movies. And again, just not saying these are all incredible movies, but just what I felt were the 10 best movies of the ones that I've seen this year. And thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. Definitely got some great movies this year, although overall I won't say it was a great or amazing year. But really looking forward to next year. I'll be making a video of my most anticipated movies of 2014, and there are a lot that I'm really excited for, and I definitely think that 2014 is going to have a lot more and a lot better movies than 2013. I just think overall it'll be a much more epic year for movies than 2013. But I'm really excited. I hope you guys all had a great holiday season. Happy New Year, and thank you for watching my videos, guys. I've been on here on YouTube for just about a year now, and I have had a great time. Really appreciate you guys watching. I hope you had a great year watching movies, and I hope 2014 brings more great movies, and I hope you guys enjoy the coming year. And yeah, I hope you guys get to see a lot of great movies that you enjoy this coming year. And I will be making my 10 worst movies of the year, and I'll also be, I hope to do top 10 best and worst for 2012, which I didn't get to do last year. So if you guys are interested in those, keep an eye out for them. But thanks a lot for watching, guys. Really appreciate it. Please like the video, comment with your thoughts, subscribe, and take care. I'll see you guys later. Bye.